in your mind at this point, do you think the job is Monte Lee's to lose?
I would say he's the number one candidate from everything we're hearing, talking with our sources. He's the guy that seems like he's out in front. He's the only one that we can confirm had 2 interviews. We know that the 4 other guys that interviewed at this point for the job, besides Monte Lee, and everything we hear is he's the top guy. So I would say, yeah, at this point, it looks like it's his job to lose.
As far as the other interviews have gone, I know you guys have been all over. Maryland's coach is interviewed and Virginia's assistant, Bradley LaCroix, recently also. Do you feel like at this point they're just kind of trying to go through the process and get those guys interviewed, but at the end of the day, Monte is really the guy that they want to target?
Yeah, they interviewed Bradley LaCroix, from our sources told us yesterday morning, or Friday morning. And then that afternoon, Monte got his second interview. He was interviewed on Tuesday as well. And then we understood also earlier this week, before he left out to the College World Series with his as a member of the Virginia staff, Kevin McMullen also was interviewed in Charlotte. Our sources tell us. And then so it seemed like at that point there was a couple guys they primarily interviewed, and then Monte got his second interview yesterday, as I said. And I know we've been told that Maryland head coach John Chef is going to also get an opportunity to interview this weekend. And so I think what you're seeing is the Clemson officials are trying to make sure they get the right guy in place, and they're doing their due diligence of going through and making sure there isn't anybody out there that really kind of stands above Monte. And I think that's where they are right now. They're just, you never know. You got to talk to different guys, so you never know what's going to happen.
When it comes down to it, if Monte Lee is the guy that they decide to go with, what does this do for Clemson's baseball program going forward, and the fact that he's a guy that's been around this rivalry before with being an assistant at South Carolina. He's done great things with College of Charleston. He knows the state well as far as recruiting goes. Does this a hire like Monte Lee, does that mean Clemson baseball program, they're in good hands going forward?
I would say, of all the guys that you look at as candidates, the reason he stands out above the rest is because, first of all, he's won 40 games down in Charleston 4 different times, and Charleston is not an easy place to win. They have some of the same issues that Clemson has, and he found a way to continue to put competitive winning baseball teams on the field. And I think that's something you can't overlook. And the way he does have a lot of ties in the state, recruiting-wise, a lot of the high school coaches respect him that I've spoken with in the last week or so. They have a tremendous amount of respect for him and what he has done there, and not just that, but also going back to his relationship with those same coaches when he was at the University of South Carolina. So it's definitely those advantages those reasons are why he is the top candidate for this position, because he knows how to win with the disadvantages that he had at College of Charleston. He's going to have some of those same disadvantages at Clemson, but yet he was able to find ways to keep winning there. It's going to be a little bit tougher job at Clemson, obviously, because of the Atlantic Coast Conference is such a tough conference to play in. But everything I hear, and with Clemson now getting the new facilities, the academic common market now is coming into play at Clemson, he's going to be able to have a couple more things that he didn't have at the College of Charleston, and maybe those are some things that he can help get Clemson over the top and get them back to where they want to be.
Last thing I'll ask you, no matter who they decide to go with, do you feel like at this point the players that are returning will still be there no matter who they go with?
That's a good question. I think a lot of that's going to depend on his staff and who he brings in. Just speculating right now, I would think he'd bring his pitching coach down there with him. Of course, that's just speculation. I'm not saying this is anything I'm, know or anything like that. Just speculating at this point. But I would think he would want to bring one of his 2 of his members from his staff up here. And then, does he keep a guy like Bradley LaCroix, who has really built a good 2015 class? All the guys on the roster right now have a lot of respect for Bradley. and think a lot of him. And so if he keeps Coach LaCroix on his staff, and then that would also help the 2016 class. Clemson's got a pretty good list of candidates and recruits, that are on that 2016 class. They'd like to keep in play, and I think keeping Bradley on board, a Clemson guy, would probably bode well for him.